Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me here at Unapologetic Progressive. Today we're going to talk about Donald Trump and his plans to run for a third term. Now let me make this clear right off the bat here that he can't run for a third term. At least if our Constitution is upheld. Because the 22nd Amendment makes it clear that no one shall run for office for a third term. That nobody can be president for more than 2 terms. Now, there are 2 ways that this could be changed, and they're not likely to happen. Okay, one, Congress could pass a amendment that disregards that amendment, right? And then that would have to be ratified by 38 of the 50 states. Therefore, not going to pass. He doesn't have 38 states. The second is a constitutional referendum, basically, or constitutional convention, which there again, they could make changes, but then it would have to be ratified by 38 of the 50 states. Again, he doesn't have that. So the fact is, this isn't something that should be allowed to happen. He shouldn't even be able to joke about it. He swears he's not joking about it, and he really intends to do it. But that we'll see down the road, because he's not 100% sure. Well, here's the thing. You can't run for another term. I don't care how you feel about the last presidential election. I don't care how you feel about the 2020 election. Donald Trump cannot run for a third term. He is not legally or constitutionally allowed to do so. Why did this come into being? Why did this amendment happen? This amendment came about because a president served 4 terms and died in office. That is why this came about. Because no one person should be able to have complete power over our government. No one person should have that much power for that long. If I remember, George Washington served 1 term and was gone. And I don't think our founding fathers intended us to have kings. So it's one of a few reasons why this particular constitutional amendment stays and has stayed since it was enacted. Now, though, if you decide you want to get rid of this, think about what that also does, though, people. Those of you on the right that seem to think this is such a great idea. If you do find a way to get rid of that amendment, somehow, miraculously, you find 38 states to ratify your constitutional amendment, that would also allow Barack Obama to run for a third term. It would allow Bill Clinton to run for a third term. George W. Bush could run for a third term. And most Americans, given that opportunity to vote for George W. Bush versus Donald Trump, they're going to vote for George W. Bush every single time, I guarantee you. And on the flip side of it, if it's Obama, you can't beat Obama, Mr. Trump. You can't. The only way you could possibly beat Barack Obama in an election is if you cheated. So you got to keep that in mind, those of you on the right. You really got to think about that. Because if you change the rules for one person, you have to change the rules for every person. You can't just have it your way. It's not how a democracy works. It's not how America works. And it's absolutely disgusting to think that this president doesn't believe in the Constitution. He gave an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States of America. That was part of his oath as president. But he doesn't care about that. He cares about power for himself. So make it, when people tell you that they think he should run for a third term, you now know for sure why they can't. Why Donald Trump cannot run for a third term. It's constitutionally against the law. It's unconstitutional. This was already ratified by the states decades ago. So there's no reason to even be toying with the idea, unless your goal is to just to cause havoc and chaos. And that's what Donald Trump is aiming to do, is cause as much chaos as possible. To have us talking about this as opposed to talking about the other things he's doing. But I'm doing my best to cover all of it. This kind of BS, as well as the stuff that the stuff he's actively doing currently. The problem is, there's not a whole lot that's not the same. Every single day I wake up to the same news. And it's very hard to cover the same thing over and over again. How is Trump screwing America this time? But I keep trying to find stuff to cover, trying to keep things interesting, trying to give you more information. That said, I hope you all are having a great day, and I'll see you down the road.